93,000 people downloaded something I built as a side project. Not a startup, not a product with a landing page or a launch campaign. A Witcher 3 mod, a small piece of software that automatically loots items while you play a video game. I shipped the first version in 2022. It is now on version 4.4.1. The community translated it into 11 languages, and it still gets downloaded today. In this video, I want to talk about why. Because the answer has almost nothing to do with gaming and everything to do with how you ship software that outlives the moment you built it. There are three things that made this project last, and I think most developers building side projects right now are getting all three of them wrong, including me before this. My name is Clemente, also known as Hermes Zum. I build full-stack products and teach what I learn here on 3Gear YouTube channel. This video is a bit different from my usual workflow tutorials. No code editor, no terminal, just a story and three things I wish someone had told me when I first pushed this project live. We are going to cover each lesson in detail, and at the end I'll tell you the one thing I would do differently if I were building this today with AI tools. That part has a direct impact on how I'm building everything at 3Gear right now. If you've played The Witcher 3, you know the looting loop. You fight a monster, you walk over to its body, you open the loot menu, you scroll through 15 items, you decide what to take, you close the menu, then you walk to the next monster and do it again for 40 hours. It is one of the most tedious mechanics in an otherwise extraordinary game, and the mod community had been trying to solve it for years. There were several auto-loot mods already existing when I started building mine. My version, Auto-Loot All-in-One NG Update, wasn't built from scratch. I took the best existing auto-loot implementation, created new features, and rewrote parts that was for the CD Projekt Red Release 3 and built it for the Release 4. Also made the whole system fully configurable from inside the game menu. No editing config files, no command line, everything visual, everything accessible from the game menu. The project first version went live in December 2022. I wasn't expecting much. Then the download started and didn't stop. Here is the first lesson, and it sounds obvious until you think about how most side projects actually start. The mod worked because it solved a problem that already existed and was already painful. And the pain was specific, measurable, and universal. Every Witcher 3 player hit the same tedious loop. The problem didn't need explaining. The value didn't need selling. You just needed to show the thing working. Compare this to how most developers approach side projects. We have an idea, we build something, and then we try to convince people they have a problem they weren't aware of. That's extremely hard. The mod had the opposite dynamic. Players were already searching for a solution. They already knew what they wanted. I don't want to open this loot menu anymore. The project just had to be findable and be better than what existed. That's 479,000 views from people who typed something like Witcher 3 Auto-Loot mod into a search bar. No promotion, no social media strategy, just a real solution to a real pain point, discoverable at the moment someone needed it. The question for your side project isn't, is this a cool idea? The question is, are people already frustrated enough to search for this? If yes, you're in a much better position than you think. This one took me longer to understand, and it's the reason the mod is still alive in 2026 when, at moment, I'm no longer actively developing it. 11 languages? People I have never spoken to, from countries I've never visited, translated this mod into their native language because they wanted their community to use it. I didn't ask them to. I didn't hire them. They did it because the project was structured in a way that made contribution easy and meaningful. Here's what I mean by designed for ownership. 3 things made this possible. First, I credited everyone publicly and prominently. Every contributor is listed by name on the mod page. This sounds small. It isn't. Public credit is currency in the modding community. When people see their name associated with a project that thousands of people use, they tell others, they defend the project, they come back for the next version. Second, I made the contribution surface obvious. Translation files were in a clearly named folder with a simple structure. You didn't need to understand the code base to contribute a translation. The barrier was as low as I could make it. Third, I kept the changelog honest and visible. Every update listed exactly what changed and why. Not marketing language, actual technical notes. When your users can see that you're paying attention, that bugs get fixed, that edge cases get handled, they trust the project. And when they trust it, they defend it in forums, they recommend it to friends, they contribute to it. The 1,546 community posts on that page aren't support tickets I had to answer. Most of them are users helping other users. That's the compound effect of designing for ownership. The community becomes the support layer. The third lesson is about discipline, and it's the one that directly determines whether a project has a long life or dies after the initial release rush. The mod is on version 4.4.1, not version 1.0.1, not a dozen commits with no version numbers. 4.4.1, which means there have been at least 4 significant evolution cycles, and each minor number represents a real documented change. Semantic versioning, major.minor.patch, isn't just a convention for production software, it's a communication contract with your users. When someone sees v4.4.1, they know this project has history. They know it's been tested. They know the author takes it seriously enough to track changes. That signal builds trust before they even install it. But there's something deeper here than version numbers. It's about the cadence of care. This mod was last updated in August 2024, nearly 2 years after the first release. That's not an accident. Each update addressed something real. A CD Projekt Red patch breaking compatibility, a community-reported edge case, a new configuration option users were asking for. The updates weren't random, they were responses. Most side projects die because the author loses interest and stops responding. The users feel it immediately. The forum posts go unanswered. The compatibility breaks stack up. The downloads drop, and eventually the project is archived. The antidote isn't endless motivation. It's a low, sustainable update cadence that signals the project is alive. Even a single patch every few months, if it's real, documented, and communicated, keeps the trust alive. Here is the part I mentioned at the beginning. The one thing I would do differently if I were building this today. The single biggest cost in maintaining this mod wasn't writing the code. It was understanding the code base again every time I came back to it after weeks away. Witcher 3 uses a custom scripting language called WitcherScript. It's not Python, it's not TypeScript. It has its own quirks, its own context, its own edge cases. And every time I returned to fix something, I spent significant time just reorienting myself. This is exactly the problem I now solve with the Obsidian plus VS Code system I covered in my last video. A Claude.md briefing file at the root of every project, a document that tells your AI assistant exactly what this project is, what decisions were made, what patterns to follow, what not to touch. If I had that system in 2022, every return to the mod code base would have taken minutes, not hours. The AI would have been briefed. The context would have been persistent. The cognitive overhead of maintenance, which is the real reason most side projects die, would have been dramatically lower. This is why I build the way I build now. And it's what I teach on this channel. So, to summarize, 93,000 downloads later, the three things that made this project last were solving a pain people were already searching for a solution to, designing the project so the community could own and extend it, and versioning with enough discipline that users could trust the project had a future. None of these are unique to game modding. They apply to every side project you'll ever build. Open source libraries, SaaS tools, dev utilities, browser extensions. The medium changes, the principles don't. If you're building something right now, even something small, treat it like it's going to be around in 3 years, because if you do it right, it will be. If this gave you something useful, subscribe. The next video covers how I'm structuring the AI workflows that now power everything I build at 3Gear. It's the practical follow-up to everything I just described. Subscribe, hit the bell, whatever the YouTube algorithm gods require.